Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Welcome back to Gumball Sports Machine, the show in which we love, we laugh, we hug, we cry, we smile, and most importantly, and always, most of the time at least, we are positive. And as always, I am by myself today. You know, people are gonna adult. There's working and there's parenting and there's more working and adulting. So I am on my own today, solo dolo. So you're getting a whole lot of gumball action. Take that the way you want to. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about today. Party people. Let's start with this is something, obviously, if you watch this podcast, we don't talk too much baseball, at least not as much as I'd like to, but that's all right. We'll get to talking more baseball. We're going to start with baseball today. Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks there's a big story on him this week. There's a big story on him, and I feel like I needed to get this off my chest. The story is that there are members of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization that are not happy with Ketel. They believe he's being coddled. They believe he's being this and that. He's being treated differently. He's taking too many games off. He's not taking it seriously. Multiple people reported that. Nick Picoro is the first one to really write the story on it. Bob Nightingale also followed up on that, as well as John Gambadoro, aka Gambo, and Dan Bickley. At least those are the people that I know of that have kind of reported it and talked about it in depth in terms of the inside information. This story is infuriating. Now, this may be me being a homer. This may be me being naive. Whatever the case is, this is just what I think about it. So the story is Ketel Marte is being coddled. Oh, they're letting him do all this stuff that they wouldn't let anybody else do. They're letting him go travel to the DR during the All-Star break and come back late. I do want to get to that for sure. But they're giving him games off. They're making sure everything is the way he wants it, whatever it is. There are a lot of people saying, "Oh, why would you treat Ketel any differently? why is Ketel able to do all this other stuff? Why is he able to fly back and forth or back to the DR after the All-Star game? Why is he getting all these games off? Why are they coddling him like this? When you really look at it, what sport or even franchise does not treat their star players a different way than they treat the other players? Honestly, let's think about it. Let's think about it, because this is a story that is not it's not unusual for things like this to happen. It's not. You see it in baseball, you for sure see it in basketball, and you see it in football. The two examples I came up with was, number one, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was doing all this. He was staying away from the hotel when they went on the road. He was staying, at some house or Airbnb or whatever it is. He was getting all this sort of treatment. That's Jimmy Butler. He's one of the best players in the world, let alone the NBA. Yes, you're going to treat him differently. Kawhi Leonard, I think, is the perfect example. Kawhi Leonard, you give all these games off. He's known for getting / taking games off. Why? He is injury prone. He's injury prone. You know who else is injury prone? Ketel Marte, and I love him. He is one of the best players in baseball. He is the best second baseman we have playing in baseball. He is injury prone. He's already been hurt this year. So if he wants to take a game off to get his body right, let him take a game off. He has an OPS of over 950. He has 24, 25 home runs, and he's batting 295. And he's playing some pretty solid defense at second base. Give him a game off when he feels like taking a game off. Now, the other thing is that, first of all, I might have to see it to believe it. Again, this is me. This might be me being a homer. This might be me being naive. I have to see it to believe it. Not the fact, but the story that his teammates are upset with him. Geraldo Perdomo came out yesterday after they lost to the Rockies. He said, leave him alone. Ketel Marte wants to play baseball. He wants to do nothing else. He wants to play baseball. He doesn't want all this attention. He just wants to play baseball. Leave him alone. And I agree to an extent. Okay, I agree to an extent. I don't think this is as big of a deal as it needs to be, or as it seems to be. I really don't. You see it in every organization, of every sport, of every franchise. The star players get treated differently. That is sports in 2025. It just is. I'm not comparing Ketel Marte to Michael Jordan, but do you think Michael Jordan was treated the same way as Bill Cartwright? Do you think LeBron was treated the same way as James Jones? That's not the case. Do you think Mike Trout is treated the same way as Joe Adele? It's not the case. Yes, the star players get treated differently. They have earned that right, especially when they are as productive as Ketel Marte is. That's just it. It is what it is. The story has gotten blown way out of proportion again. This may just be me being naive and a homer, and I'll take it. But what I will say is my opinion, and it has gotten blown way, way out of proportion. I don't understand why people are coming after him for something that so many other athletes do. So many other athletes do. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes gets special treatment. I'm sure Lamar Jackson gets special treatment. I'm sure Francisco Lindor. Rafael Devers. He just got traded from the Red Sox. Now, you know what? Before I move on, let me get to that. The other story is that the Arizona Diamondbacks could be listening to offers for Ketel Marte in terms of trading him in the offseason. I think that would be a horrendous mistake. That would be a horrendous mistake. When you talk about one of the best players in baseball, to me, top 10 players in baseball, the best at his position, Now, again, his teammates, how he is in the clubhouse, it's being reported that his teammates have a problem with the way he goes about things. I have to see it to believe it. Um, I just don't see that being the case unless one of the teammates went up to, one of the Nick Picoros or one of these other guys that have these inside information and went up to them and say, hey, Ketel is doing all this. Ketel is doing, he's getting special treatment, whatever the case is. And they're saying, I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's this. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. Now, of course, nobody's going to come out publicly and say Ketel Marte is being treated differently than us. We feel like it's unfair the way that he's treated compared to the way that we are. We believe whatever the case is, nobody's going to come out and say that publicly. It's not going to happen. It's never happened. It won't happen. But I mean, the way that Jerry came to his defense yesterday, that's just one example. That's just one example. Now, the guys that have been traded, the Genos, the Merrills, the Josh Naylors of the world, maybe those guys didn't like it. But even then, it's hard for me to think of them like looking at Ketel Marte. Oh, well, this guy is, why is he taking a day off and I don't get to take a day off? I don't think that's the case. I don't think Merrill Kelly was looking at Ketel Marte like, why is he not in the lineup? Where is he at? Because I mean, if he did, he understood why he wasn't in the lineup. There's a reason. There's a reason. And if anything, I think Merrill would be the guy to be like, yo, you just taking a day off, so everybody else has to work, or you just like he's the one that would take account. Personally, if again, this is what you look for in a clubhouse, what you look for in a locker room. Now, again, personally, growing up, I played a lot of sports. I played a lot. I didn't do very much else other than play sports. There was a lot of the times I was the best player on the team, and there was also a lot of times where I was not the best player on the team, and it wasn't close. So I've been on both ends of that spectrum. When I was not the best player on the team, and I was kind of just that role player guy in basketball, that is, I understood who the best player on the team was. I understood that, yes, he may get treated a little differently because he is just a little bit more valuable to the team than I am. Now, the way that people take that fact is none of my business. But the people who accept that fact live happier, sleep easier. It is what it is. I was also that guy to come to the defense of my teammate. If somebody was talking about my teammate in a way I didn't appreciate, I was the guy to come to the defense. The best players on the team, I always let them know they were the best player on the team. I had no ego. My ego wasn't big enough to, this guy's averaging 20 and 5 and whatever it is. Oh, I'm still better than him. That's not the case. That's not the case. That's ignorance is what it is. That's ignorance. So the best players on the team, I know they were the best players on the team. I'm the one that was telling them that they were the best player on the team. That only boosted their confidence. So there's a certain leadership role that Jerry brought in coming to the defense of Ketel Marte that could possibly help this locker room, this clubhouse. Also, side note, Jerry said they were playing good baseball. When you lose 3 or 4 to the Rockies, that's not good baseball. So let's get that out the way. But pertaining to the Ketel Marte situation, he is the best player on his team. He's one of the best players in baseball. I'd be shocked if he wasn't treated differently. Just like every other superstar and every other face of the franchise. I would be shocked if he wasn't treated differently. Now, could he have gone away about a few more things differently? Yes, he absolutely could have. That trip to the DR, he could have and should have told somebody about that after the All-Star break. He could have and should have told somebody about that. There is no excuse about that. But when you look at his production, when you look at what he's meant to the team, he is one of the greatest Arizona Diamondbacks of all time. Top 3, in my opinion. Top 4. I'll say top 5. Top 5. So yes, he's going to be treated a little differently. He's going to get special treatment. There's no problem with that. I just want people to stop looking at it as if it is a bigger problem than what it is. That's what draws tension in the locker room. That's what brings dysfunction in a clubhouse. So when you look at Ketel Marte, you look at a great baseball player who's treated the same way as some other stars. That's just the case. It is what it is. All right. Now let's talk about this disaster of a franchise that is happening in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns today named their starter in Joe Flacco. Now that comes as a surprise to nobody. That was what everybody was expecting. Joe Flacco was going to be the guy to start week 1. The thing about that is I don't believe he will end the season as a starter. Whether it's Shadeur Sanders, whether it's Dillon Gabriel, one of those young guys will finish the year as the starting quarterback because that is what you are looking for. You're looking to build a future. Joe Flacco is 1 million years old. Don't think you're going to look to be building around him. You're going to look if you have your guy. Again, whether it's Shadeur Sanders, whether it's Dillon Gabriel, one of those guys will be starting by the end of the season. Because I can imagine they're going to have a top 3 pick, the Cleveland Browns are. Now, whether you take a quarterback is up to Dillon Gabriel and or Shadeur Sanders. That's up to them. If they come out and they play well and they show, okay, this guy can be a franchise quarterback. This guy could take us to the promised land. We can build around him. They're not going to take a quarterback. They're going to take, maybe even a receiver in the first round. But you're going to have a top 3, top 4 pick, especially with the schedule that they have. They have a brutal schedule, the Browns do. The problem I had with this weekend is what Dillon Gabriel had to say at halftime of their game this past weekend, or whenever it was. He was on the sideline, and the game was going on. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, there are entertainers and there are competitors. I am a competitor. I'm here to compete. I'm here to play football. Let's not pretend like that wasn't a shot at Shadeur. Dillon, you're gonna tell me that wasn't a shot at Shadeur? Now, here's the crazy part. I understand you're competing for a job. I understand that you want to win that job. That's not the way you do it. That is not the way you do it. Now, you can dislike the guy, you don't have to like him, but at the end of the day, he is your teammate. And there is a rule within a football locker room, especially an NFL locker room. What are you doing taking shots like that at your guys? That's unacceptable. And then he tried to walk it back in his press conference after the game, saying, "Oh, I was talking about the media. I was talking about you guys. You guys are entertainers." Dude, it's too late. It's too late. You said what you said. Now, was I expecting him to say, "Oh yeah, I was talking about Shadeur"? Of course not. But if you're human and you can understand English, you understand that was a shot at Shadeur. And here's the crazy part. Shadeur, fantastic in his start. Fantastic. When you look at what Shadeur did in his first start against Carolina, came out there, controlled the offense, threw for 2 touchdowns, over 150 yards, was efficient. He looked really good in his first start. Dillon Gabriel had his moments. He also threw a pick 6. Turned the ball over another time. If we're comparing the 2 starts, and I'm putting Dillon Gabriel's numbers up to his start compared to Shadeur Sanders' numbers in his start, it's not close. It's not close. Let alone all that. What are you doing taking a shot at your teammate? What are you doing? That's your guy. That's, again, you can dislike him. Again, I mentioned I've played I've never played high school. I've never played sports at that high of a level. Never anything past high school. But in the locker rooms that I was in, Yes, I didn't like everybody. I wasn't going to like everybody. If you like everybody you've ever played a sport with, you must be the nicest person that's ever touched the planet Earth. So you're not going to like everybody you share a locker room with. But at the end of the day, you are on the same team. You are on the same team, which means no matter what, you need to have each other's back because you are wearing the same uniform with the same name across your chest. So that shot at Shadeur Sanders was unacceptable. Unacceptable. It was a low blow. It's Bush League. It's not what you need in an NFL locker room, especially the Cleveland Browns locker room. The same locker room that's about to go 2-15 and is going to have 4 quarterbacks on their roster and had the second overall pick last year. That's not what you need. That's not the culture you're looking to build, especially with the guy you just took in the 3rd round that you could possibly be looking to build your franchise around in the future. That's not what you're looking for. It's not. Dillon Gabriel, you got to be better. Got to be better than that. I mean, I don't know if Dillon Gabriel is envious of the attention that Shadeur has and he's been getting. Not only because, yes, I understand he is Deion Sanders' son. That's Deion Sanders' son, so everybody wants to. That's cool. Fine and dandy. But he has played some good football. He has played some good football. I mentioned Dillon Gabriel. He was good in college. I think Shadeur Sanders was better in college. That's just my personal opinion. At moments, Dillon Gabriel, he played some good football, but he also played on some damn good teams. Again, I said this in the last episode. He played on that Oregon team, which is probably head to toe in terms of roster, the second best roster in college football, aside from Ohio State. Maybe you could throw Texas in there, but that's a top 5 roster for sure. And a top 5 college football coach in Dan Lanning. Easily. In the roster that Oregon had, yes. Absolutely. So I don't know if he's envious because he feels like he deserves the attention. I don't know what the case may be, but he can't do that. That's not a good look for him. That's definitely not a good look for the organization because that shows there is dysfunction. Like we didn't know that already. When you have Joe Flacco starting week 1 for you, I think that's enough dysfunction. To add this on top of it, not a great look. Not a great look at all. So I wanted to talk about that for a few minutes. All right. Really quickly, I want to talk about this for a few minutes because we do have a very, very special guest coming on here to end the show. So I'm looking forward to that. You also be on the lookout for that. I think that'd be great. I'm very, very excited to have this special guest on. So looking forward to that. But final thing I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about some basketball. Obviously, in the offseason, there's only so much to talk about. Free agency has come and gone. The NBA draft has come and gone. But I do want to still keep the basketball chatter alive, people. Saw this on Instagram the other day. There's a debate going on. Would you rather start a franchise with peak? I'm talking about at their best, at their very, very best. Peak Anthony Davis or peak Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, this is tough. Honestly, for me, this is really, really tough. I had to think about this for a little bit. But when you look at those two players, they are very similar but very different at the same time. Now, you look at me, what is this idiot talking about? They both play the same position. They're both 4s. Now, I understand Anthony Davis plays the 5. I understand Giannis can play the 3, but they are 4s. They are power forwards. But when you watch their game, when you watch what they've been able to do, there is nothing that AD can do that Giannis cannot do, aside from shoot the basketball. I understand that. Giannis cannot shoot the basketball nearly as well as Anthony Davis do. I am not denying that. Not even in the slightest. But aside from that, Giannis does everything Anthony Davis does and possibly even a little better. When you talk about two ways, Giannis is always in the conversation for all NBA defense. He's won a defensive player of the year before. He obviously has the two MVPs. He has the ring. Anthony Davis at his peak, at his very peak. Now, whether it was 2020 in the bubble with LeBron or his time in New Orleans with the Pelicans, at his very peak and Giannis's very peak, I think Giannis was just a little bit better because you saw what Giannis was able to do with that Bucks team that won the championship. Dragged him all the way to the championship. Now, I understand you had Drew Holiday. You had Chris Middleton. You had some other pieces. You had Bobby Portis. But he dragged that team. And he had to beat some damn good teams on his way to that championship. He had to beat the Hawks in the conference finals. Now, I understand they're not the Celtics or the Heat or one of these powerhouses in the East, but they were very good that year. They were very good. Let's not discredit the Hawks because they were supposed to be there and they were there that year. So let's not get that twisted. Giannis at his very peak, I think, is the better basketball player than AD. And if I'm taking one of those two to start a franchise with, I'm taking Giannis. When you look, he makes his teammates better. That's number one. He makes his teammates better. Anthony Davis, if you put Anthony Davis on that Bucks team, they do not win a championship. They do not win a championship. And I'll tell you that right now, and I'll stand 10 toes on that. They do not win a championship. But if you put Giannis on that Lakers team in 2020, who's going to tell me they don't win a championship? Him and LeBron? You're going to tell me Giannis, LeBron, Alex Caruso, KCP, and those role players, Kyle Kuzma, the way that he was playing basketball, you're going to tell me that team wouldn't win a championship? I can definitively tell you with all the confidence in the world, Anthony Davis on that Bucks team instead of Giannis will not win a championship. I can almost not guarantee, but I am 90%. You switch Giannis and AD on that team, the Lakers still go and win the championship. And they make it look even easier than what they did. Now, this is not me discrediting Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is one of the most skilled basketball players we have seen play this game of basketball in the NBA. That is fact. But when you look at Giannis and when he's been able to do, the way he passes the basketball, the dominance in which he plays the game. Now, again, he's never developed the jump shot that really everybody has been looking for him to develop. Maybe that'll get there eventually. Maybe it won't. You know, he's getting older. He's 30 now. I think maybe north of 30. So I don't know how far along that jump shot is or is ever going to be. But I can't take Anthony Davis over Giannis. At their very best, I can't do it. Can't do it. Giannis, when he won that championship, was the best player on his team by far and was the main reason why he won that championship and won the finals MVP for it and broke my heart in the process. Anthony Davis, I don't know if I can say the same. Now, LeBron was very good in that run. Anthony Davis was also fantastic in that playoff run in the bubble. Yeah, you could call it the Disney championship or, you know, the bubble ring or whatever it is. It is an NBA championship ring. And they play the Heat in the finals, and they deserve to be in that finals. But I'm not taking Anthony Davis over Giannis. I refuse. Won't do it. All right. Let's get to our very special guest. I'm very, very excited for you guys to see this. I got to talk to him a few days ago. So very, very appreciative of him coming on the podcast. This is Gabe Zoda from the Playbook podcast, from B.T.O Media. They're on Instagram. The Playbook is the play PLAY and then BK. The Play BK, all lowercase, all together, no spaces on Instagram. He has some great content over there, man. I really, really suggest you guys go follow him. B.T.O Media, the same thing, B.T.O Media on Instagram and on YouTube. They have some great content over there, man. Please, please, please go check them out. Again, really appreciate Gabe for coming on with me. Here is that interview. All right, here we are with my boy Gabe Zoda from the Playbook, from the B.T.O Media. You can find him on Instagram. I'll link all of his stuff in the top comment, in the pinned comment. Gabe Zoda, he works with B.T.O Media. He does his own stuff on the Playbook. He does fantastic work. I really, really, really strongly recommend you go follow my boy stuff out. Gabe, first of all, I want to appreciate you for hopping on with us for a few minutes, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. You got me pulling out a night shift here. So, I mean, I don't know about all that, but no, I just love talking sports. Happy I get to hop on, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, you guys in New York, man. See, my brother is really going to appreciate this because he's from Brooklyn.
Okay. Love it.
He's from Brooklyn. So he's a big Giants fan, big Knicks fan. So I know when he sees this, he's really going to appreciate it. But, you know, let's start with this, man. Obviously, you specialize in the New York media, Yankees, Giants, Knicks. So I'll start it with the Yankees. The trade deadline, you didn't get exactly what you were looking for, right? You were looking for Eugenio Suarez at third base. You did end up going to get Ryan McMahon. You bolstered the bullpen. What is the biggest hole the Yankees have right now after the trade deadline?
After the deadline, I think the biggest hole, it's actually crazy. I think it still happens to be the obviously hitting. You could go up and down about it. I know a lot of people, they say the hitting is too inconsistent, but I mean, some of the stats still show they're a top 5 offense in the MLB. So I don't really know where to go with that. So on the flip side, though, I think the relieving, I think that's been the biggest problem, and the starting pitching not going long enough in games. You're relying too much on the bullpen, I think, if you're the Yankees right now, because the starters, they're going until the 5th inning. And fine, they might give up 2 runs, but you're trusting the bullpen to then go 4 innings every single night. And that could be tiring. That could be very taxing on a bullpen. And, you know, you combine that with some of the decision-making that I know Yankee fans hate Aaron Boone for, and you get a pretty bad mix right there when you get to that bullpen. So I do think they have good pieces in the pen. I do think that, though, that is the biggest hole, because they need to be consistent. They need to be healthy. They need to be rested. And right now that really isn't happening consistently.
Now, one of the bigger prospects, if not the biggest prospect in the Yankee system, is Spencer Jones. As a Diamondbacks fan myself, if we were going to trade Eugenio Suarez, Gino Suarez to the Yankees, I wanted Spencer Jones. That's where the conversation started to me. Why were the Yankees so unwilling to get off of Spencer Jones?
Right now, you look at the future, right? You look at what the Yankees can, or what's going to happen this offseason, because Cody Bellinger might not be a Yankee next year. Trent Grisham might not be a Yankee next year. You don't know what in the world you're getting with Jason Dominguez. I love Jason Dominguez, but I mean, he really hasn't been great as a corner outfielder defensively, and he can't hit from the right side of the plate. So you really could have a problem in the outfield next season. And if Spencer Jones can come up, if he can be sort of that guy that is providing some power, and he is a good defender. People don't talk about his defense that much. He could defend at much anywhere in the outfield. So I think that's kind of been the holdup, because you have so much uncertainty. I don't think that Trent Grisham comes back next year. I don't think he'll get the money he wants from the Yankees. And Cody Bellinger is going to have a lot of interest after this season that he's having, batting like 275, 22 home runs. I mean, that's going to get a lot of money. So he's going to get paid somewhere. And I don't know if it's going to be with the Yankees. So that's the biggest thing for me, is they're kind of in this weird spot of, yes, they want to compete. They want to be better right now. And Gino would have done that, even though after the trade deadline hasn't been anything for the Mariners. But on the flip side, I think the future is the most important part.
Yeah, Gino couldn't hit a beach ball right now if it was thrown to him. Who in the Yankees, obviously, you guys are holding the 3rd spot in the wild card race right now. Who do you think is the biggest threat in the American League right now? Who do you think should be the favorite to get to the World Series?
I mean, that's been the biggest conversation all season long. You can't discount a lot of these teams. I mean, the Red Sox have really been very good. I don't know if they're the favorites, but the Red Sox have been playing good baseball recently. I think the Astros, they always find a way to be competitive, if not one of those top teams. And right now they're playing good baseball. As we get towards that postseason, they always seem to figure it out. So, I mean, I'm worried about those 2 teams in particular to really take the crown here in the American League. I think that Sure, the Yankees should make a run, but I'm not going to be all in on them right now. But I mean, give me those two teams, because right now they're playing really good baseball, and we all know, and baseball, or really any playoffs, once you get to the playoffs, it's about who's playing the best ball at that time. It's not so much about who's got the best record. So, I think those teams can really make a run.
Now, let's talk about post-trade deadline, the winners and the losers. Obviously, I think the Red Sox were the winners by addition, by subtraction, by trading Rafi Devers, a guy that was causing a lot of problems over there. Who do you think were the winners of the trade deadline?
I mean, it's hard to say anybody but I don't know. For me, the Yankees had a good deadline. Like, they had a really good deadline. Like, you look at that on a piece of paper and you just go down the list. I mean, you added guys that can platoon. I think the Yankees, they haven't had a bench of bats that you can rely on in platoon situations for years. And now you get guys like Slater and you get guys like Ahmed Rosario, who they aren't great guys. They aren't great players, but they mash against left-handed pitching. And the Yankees needed that because they're such a lefty-heavy lineup. So you get righties that can mash against lefties. That really helps. What hurts them is that they got hurt 2 weeks later. So, I mean, how do you really manage that? But I do agree with you. The Red Sox, just fantastic. I mean, the first couple of weeks of Roman Anthony weren't all that great, but I mean, ever since he started to turn it up, now he's over a 270 batter. The home run and juice really starting to kick in now for him as well at the major league level. Yeah, I mean, he knows the talent that he is. The Red Sox know what they got from him, and it's hard to say anybody but the Red Sox in the American League.
All right, let's move on to the National League. There are so many teams. It was, going into the season, it was the Dodgers. They have the best roster. They have the best lineup. Obviously, the biggest thing to do with the Dodgers has been starting pitching over the past few years, and that's still a problem for them right now. But you see the Padres, who just took over the National League West. You see the Brewers, who just won 10, 12 in a row, something like that. Who should be the favorite to make it to the World Series in the National League?
I really like the Padres. I really like the Brewers. The Brewers, I mean, they're weird once the playoffs get going. I think they always have this weird, like, devil magic in the regular season they got going on. I've been swearing they're cheating for years, but nobody wants to admit it with me. But I like those two teams you mentioned, but how about the Phillies too? I mean, they had a really good deadline as well, getting Yohan Duran, and I think that was a super important grab for the Phillies, just to get somebody who could finally close for them. It feels like they would get these leads in games, but they never had a guy that would shut the door at the end of the game, and Duran has been that. That was a guy I wanted the Yankees to grab, and they couldn't grab him. But I think that's a very important ad. Harrison Bader has done a pretty good job ever since being traded over to the Phillies as well. So I really like the Phillies to maybe make a run here. They obviously have talent. They have some pieces. Schwarber, I mean, he just is an animal in of itself. And once you get him into October, he's just going to get better as well. So, if it's not those two teams, you mentioned the Brewers and the Padres, give me the Phillies.
Yeah, I think they have the best starting rotation, top to bottom, in baseball. I got to ask you a little about my guys. The D-backs, they were sellers at the deadline. They traded Merrill Kelly. They traded Gino. They traded Josh Naylor, two of them to the same team. But now they're starting to get hot. You see Ketel Marte, 2 ninth-inning home runs to win the game. They've won 8 out of the last 12. So they're 8-4 since the deadline. Is there any way, Gabe, any way that the D-backs could sneak into the wild card?
I don't know. Do you want me? Is this for me to make you feel good about your team? I don't know.
As much as I would like to answer yes, give me the real stuff. What you think?
I just can't see it totally with them. I mean, you lose so much there, and it feels like. I don't know. It's a weird spot because you could make the argument on one side that, they sold. They're not really focused on making the playoffs. But on the flip side, you can make the argument that, hey, the people who are left on that team are now in a position where they are like, you know what, y'all wanted to sell. We're not here to sell. We want to go out. We want to still compete. We want to win. And I mean, right now they're winning 5-0 against the Rockies. So they're going to win another game tonight. And they're going to keep this train rolling. I think they've been a little bit too streaky this season, right? At the beginning of the year, you thought they were going to be a great team, then not so much. Now maybe they're picking up some steam. So I don't know if this run will be sustainable for them. So I'm not going to put them in any favorites to make any kind of run right now. But I mean, hey, this is a team that sometimes, as we talked about just a couple minutes ago, if you can get hot at the right time, if you can get into your spot into the dance, I mean, it's up to you at that point what you can do with it. I mean, when the Diamondbacks made the run a couple of years ago, it's not like they were supposed to win the World Series, but I mean, they made it damn far, right? So and that's a big thing with baseball. You really can never predict this sport. But if I had to give you an answer right now, and I hate to do this to you, I don't have a lot of stock in the Diamondbacks right now.
Yeah. I'm, as big as a fan I am, and as heartbroken as I was in 23 when we lost the World Series to the Rangers, I'm with you. I just think with them, it's the bullpen inconsistencies. We've had, there was a stat today, Gabe, that I found out. Yesterday was the 14th different player to have a save this year for the D-backs.
Wow.
14th. And obviously going into this year, it was Justin Martinez and AJ Puck that were going to be your two guys, whether it's matchup based or whether you just want to go, I got to go get you 3 outs. So I think the bullpen is going to be the downfall of this team, and it has been so far this season. But let's move on to some football. Let's talk about Big Blue over there. I mentioned I was talking to you about my brother before. My brother, who's been on the podcast multiple times before, he's a big Giants fan. He's from Brooklyn. He's always repping the Giants. He was heartbroken when Saquon left. But let's talk about going into this year. Obviously, you go draft Jackson Dart in the first round. You sign Russell Wilson. You sign Jameis Winston. What is the quarterback situation looking like in New York right now? Who starts? Who starts the season? Who finishes the season?
I think who finishes the season is the more interesting question. We all know Russell Wilson's going to start this season, but I mean, you give the Giants one of the toughest schedules this year, and I don't think they win more than maybe 6 games. I mean, if they get 7 games, I'm doing jumping jacks in this room. I'm happy as heck. But I don't think they really get there. I think maybe they float around 5 wins this year, and by the end of the year, if they don't have momentum, you could see Jackson Dart get those reps, get those situations. And I think Jameis Winston, I mean, he's a good guy to have in that locker room. He's not a huge guy that's going to start a lot of games, and I don't think he's going to start any games with this Giants team. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded halfway through this year. If a team gets a quarterback injury, if a team is really needing a quarterback, why not grab Jameis Winston to do something for your team? And maybe the Giants can get, maybe some help in the DBs, maybe some help somewhere else, or just a draft pick or 2 for Jameis Winston. I do think that's a big possibility, but I think Russell Wilson starts the year. Camp has looked all right for him. And Jackson Dart obviously had a spectacular preseason game. I don't know. I don't care how much people put stock in it. He looked good. So
yeah, he did.
I think that at the end of the year, if the Giants season isn't going great, he's going to end up starting some games. And I think the Giants fans will be happy about that.
You guys have a star young receiver, a star receiver going into year 2. We also have one here in Arizona. Obviously, the rookie years looked a little bit different.
Sure.
What does year 2 look like for Malik Neighbors? What does a improvement look like? He had 1,200 yards last year, 7 touchdowns. What does an improvement from year 1 to year 2 look like for Malik Neighbors?
I think an improvement just looks at, I think he just more receptions, but not in terms of more targets. I mean, last year he had 170 targets or, up there. I think he was number 2 in targets behind Jamar Chase. So I think you look at just being able to catch more footballs, right? You're going to get the targets. He wants targets. And he always, last year was a big thing. He's like, just get me the ball. And yeah, I mean, he deserves the ball. He's a spectacular talent, but how many of those times, those targets, can you turn into receptions, then turn into yards? I think a big jump this year won't come from an increase of targets or an increase of catches or anything like that. I think it'll just be converting more of those targets into catches, into yards, and positive outcomes. Then on the flip side, you could say, hey, he wasn't catching a lot of those balls because he had Drew Lock throwing him those passes. So having Russell Wilson be the quarterback, somebody that can get the ball in those hands of Malik Neighbors, will definitely help. I think I made a video yesterday, a couple days ago. I think he goes for 1,400 yards this year. I think he gets 125 catches this year, if not more, on both of those numbers. And I think he'll easily be a top 5 wide receiver by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. And the year that Malik had last year is the year that I hope Marvin Harrison Jr. has this year. And so it's really based.
Well, let me ask you then. Let me ask you then, because I'm super interested about the Cardinals, because we always talk about, actually my first favorite football player was Larry Fitz, so he got me into football. and when I was, just getting in. So, I mean, you look at your team and the Cardinals situation. I mean, how much trust is there in Cardinal land in, Kyler Murray and the supporting pieces around him?
So, first of all, I do want to shout out Larry Fitzgerald is my favorite athlete of all time. So yeah. I do love that. And it's funny, we actually have the same birthday. Side note. Really
there you go.
Topic.
There you go.
So but the biggest thing, because we've seen Kyler Murray show flashes. We've seen him start the season 7-0. We've seen him go start 6-4 and be atop the NFC West. We've seen him do stuff to start the season. Can you consistently play at that level throughout the entire season? That's the next step for Kyler Murray. He's going into year 28. Now, this is year 7, though, in the NFL. He has to be able to take that jump to consistently play at the level that he's been able to show. And once he does that, I think that takes the Cardinals to another level because they went and bolstered their defense. They went out and got Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson. They drafted Jordan Burch in the 3rd round. They bolstered the defensive line specifically. Will Johnson in the secondary. And so the defense should be able to handle their own. Can Kyler Murray consistently get it done? That's the biggest thing here in Arizona. Can Kyler Murray consistently get it done? You have Trey McBride, one of the best, I think, the 2nd best tight end in football. Marvin Harrison Jr., who's going into year 2, the 4th overall pick last year. I think that's the biggest thing for him right now is to be consistent throughout the entire year. If he does that, I think the entire NFC West is open, if you ask me. I mean, with the Rams and who knows what's going on with Matthew Stafford and his injury right now. It's not sounding great. Brock Purdy lost all of his weapons. He's not going to get Brandon Ayuk until week 6. And who knows about Christian McCaffrey's health throughout the year. And they lost a lot on defense, that San Francisco team did. Yeah. So I think the NFC West is wide open. And I think if Kyler Murray is able to stay consistent, I think they'll be all right. So that's really the biggest thing.
Now, there's the big thing. I mean, Giants fans, they would have been off of Kyler Murray 2 years ago. The biggest thing is like there's no patience and with quarterbacks anymore at all. It's like you got, especially on those rookie contracts, the way that the money is going right now in the NFL. These guys are making, Daniel Jones making $40 million a year. These guys are making incredible money, and all these teams are trying to capitalize on the rookie deals. If they could be good in their rookie deals and really set things up from there. I mean, how many years can you just sit here and say, hey, we just need him to be consistent, because once again, in New York, he would have been gone already. What's the patience like over there?
It's Gabe. And if he's not that guy this year, he's done.
Okay.
I said it the other day. I was now I'm lucky enough to be a part of the sports media down here. I work with the local radio station, and so I got the opportunity to be at training camp this year for Cardinals. So I was there. We got to talk to Kyler Murray. We got to talk to a few different players. I think I said it the other day when I was out there. If he does not, because after this year he's eligible for an extension. So if he does not show us he is a franchise quarterback this year, he's done. I think the Cardinals trade him before the next season. I think he's gone. To that point, though, Gabe, in the NFL, you have your top 4 in terms of quarterbacks. You have your top 4. You have your Mahomes, your Burrow, your Allen, and your Lamar, and they're all in the AFC.
Yeah.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFC? Simple as that. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to let you answer it.
A lot of people this year are putting a lot of stock in Jordan Love. A lot of people,
including me. Before you go on,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best quarterback in the NFC. I'm super interested to see how Jaden Daniels does. Obviously, I've never been like a Jalen Hurts guy. I feel like a lot of people are throwing. I think Jalen Hurts, they just throw him up there. Obviously, he's seen the most success, but we all know how crazy stacked that Eagles team is front and back. So I don't know how much stock I put into Jalen Hurts. He's a great quarterback. I don't know if he's number 1, though. I like what Jaden Daniels has done with that team, and now you get another season. We'll see how that kind of works out. But I think Jordan Love right now, it's hard to go against him. I think that team has a lot of promise. I think a lot of people should be buying a lot more stock in him. And I mean, why not him being the number 1 quarterback in the NFC?
Yeah, I even said it the other day. I think Jordan Love is the best quarterback right now in the NFC. I put all my stock into Jordan Love. I'm a very, very big Jordan Love fan. So the fact that you brought that name up, I'm with you on that. But, we'll see. All right, lastly, let's talk about some basketball. You got the Knicks up there. You got my boy Mikal Bridges, right? You guys got. I was hoping he'd wait one more year, enter free agency, and maybe the Suns could bring him back. Yeah, the Knicks put a halt to that immediately. You make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Obviously, you lost to the Pacers in 7 games. Now the Pacers are going to be without their best star. Their Celtics are going to be without their star. How much of a chance do you give the Knicks to come out of the East this season?
I mean, I feel like we say it almost every year. Like this is their best chance. This is their best chance. But I mean, with those injuries you said, and then the Bucks. I mean, you don't have Dame, even though I don't think Dame was really a difference maker there. But obviously, he's back in Portland and he's injured as well. So I do think this is the Knicks' year. I mean, once again, we talk about Jalen Brunson. He might be the best point guard in the Eastern Conference, and you could have a conversation of that with Trae Young or some of these other guys. Even Cade Cunningham is a spectacular point guard in the Eastern Conference. But I mean, I don't think that you're going to have an opportunity like this where the other two teams that have been kind of the pains in your backs, the Pacers and the Celtics, they're not going to be as good as they've been in the past. So it's either going to be some crazy team coming up from the ranks, or it's going to be the Knicks. And why couldn't it be the Knicks? You're keeping most of, if not the whole damn team. You're going to have Mike Brown, an improved offense, which is crazy, right? I mean, this is a team that was coached by Tibbs. The defense was good. It wasn't great, even though Tibbs is supposed to be this defensive guy. And now you bring in Mike Brown, who, some people are kind of up and down on him. But one thing's for sure, he can run a damn offense. I mean, you saw that Kings offense a couple years ago, and they were one of, if not the best offenses in the league at that time. And now you get a guy who can help Mikal Bridges maybe find more looks in those short roll situations, in those mid-range situations. And you could have a more creative offense at the end of the day, because I mean, you and I both watched those games in the playoffs. I mean, how many times was it just high pick and roll with JB and then one of the centers? It's easy to guard when you do it 90% of the time. So, I mean, if you get some more creativity here and you actually be able to use more of your players that you have, more of that talent, then why not be able to get far? I do think that this is, as much as it's cliche, as much as fans love to say it about this team or their teams, this is the year for the Knicks.
Yeah. And, if anybody who's listened to this podcast knows I'm one of the biggest Jalen Brunson fans in the world. I think he's a top 10 player in the NBA, not just point guard, but a player in the NBA. To that point, who's the biggest threat to them? You saw Cleveland in the year that they had this year, and they didn't really do much in terms of upgrading in free agency or the offseason. Orlando, who went out and got Desmond Bane, they went out and got Tyus Jones to bolster the offense, which was their main problem last year. Who's the biggest threat in the East right now to stop the Knicks from getting to the finals?
Yeah, I think right now it's got to be Cleveland. And the Knicks fans will never give Cleveland any credit because they beat them in 2022. And so Knicks fans are so convinced that the Knicks will just go back in there and win that series again. I really do like this Cavs team. I've liked them for a couple years. Darius Garland, people say he's the hardest guy to guard if you talk to some of these NBA players. So why can't this year be that year? I do think that these teams that stay together for longer periods of times, they work out. And I do think that built chemistry will be good for them. And it's going to be a tough beat. I mean, they weren't one of the best teams in the NBA last year for no reason in the regular season. And so I do think that they're the number one threat. You did mention Orlando, though. Orlando, I mean, such a fun team to talk about, right? I feel like over the past couple of years, they've been building up, getting Paolo a piece here and there every single year. And now with Desmond Bane, I mean, that team is dynamic, right? If they stay healthy, I mean, there are some depth concerns about that team, but every growing team is going to have those concerns. But now you have a starting five that you can feel pretty damn confident about up against a lot of these teams. I do like them a lot in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. You mentioned the Cavs. One of my co-hosts, he's called Tone. He said he calls Darius Garland Baby Kyrie. I mean, he's got that ball on a string. Yeah. Gabe, I appreciate you so much, man. We got to do this again.
Yeah, bro. Hit me up. You hit my guy up, and definitely we could hop on. I don't mind talking sports. My favorite damn thing in the world. So let's do it, bro. Hit me up.
Yeah, you and I share that. You and I share that for sure. But my life is sports. Gabe Zoda, everybody. The Playbook on Instagram. He's got some great stuff on there, man. Go give him a follow. again, much love, much appreciation for you, brother. Thank you for coming on with us. Man, I told y'all that was gonna be good, bro. I told y'all that was gonna be good. Again, huge shout out to Gabe Zoda, man. He is a friend of the show now. We'll stay in contact. Hopefully he'll be able to come on a little bit more. Come on the show a little bit more. Huge shout out to him. Again, that is the playbook. ThePlayBK, no space, all lowercase on Instagram. And from B.T.O Media, B.T.O Media on Instagram and YouTube. Big shout out to them, man. Been looking forward to this collab for a little bit. So definitely glad that happened. Go check them out. Great stuff, man, from Gabe, the playbook, and B.T.O Media. So huge shout out to them. But I did want to end today's episode on something a little different. Now, again, in the intro, every show, every episode, I always start the show by saying, this is the show in which we laugh, we hug, we cry, we smile, and most importantly, we are positive. One of my best friends in the world, Gabe, you guys have seen him. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show. I've known him for almost a decade now. He is, again, one of my best friends in the world. He went through a very very tragic loss, and so like I mentioned a few seconds ago, in the intro, I say all those things. Right now we're probably gonna focus on more the hug and the cry part. Again, Gabe is one of my best friends in the world, man. I love him to death. Again, I've known him for almost a decade. I talked to him a few nights ago and asked him if I could do this. Asked him if I could kind of do this and send him a message, send his family a message. But he, we lost his brother this past week. His brother Spencer took his own life. And so I've been trying to be with him. Gabe, that is. I've been trying to be with him and give him all the support I possibly can. But his younger brother Spencer took his life this past week. It's heartbreaking. It is devastating. Spencer was 21. He was an artist. He loved art. He was a tattoo artist. Now, if you've seen my boy Gabe, you know he's got a bunch of tattoos. His younger brother did all of his tattoos. They all look fantastic. Unfortunately, I never got to meet Spencer. There was a few times in which we were supposed to meet. We weren't able to make it happen. We weren't able to connect. Unfortunately, I was never able to meet Spencer. I've heard a lot about Spencer. Even before this past week, I've heard a bunch about him. He was a good kid, man. He was caring. He put people first, man. He's a good guy. He's a good man. But I wanted to spread this message because at the end of every episode, every single episode, you guys know, first thing I say, nobody else is going to tell you I love you and you matter. Today, that means a little bit more than usual. We see suicide a little too often. It's I was devastated when I heard that news, man. I never got the chance to meet Spencer, but I know how close Gabe and Spencer is, and I know how close Gabe and I are. Like I said, I've known Gabe for almost a decade now. It's one of my best friends in the world. I do anything for him, and so I don't want him to be hurt. And I know he was hurting, and I know he's still hurting, and he's going to be hurting for a while. But again, like I said, at the end of every episode, I always mention you matter and I love you, and it just means a little bit more this episode because of the loss of Spencer. And I can't preach enough that there are so many people that love and appreciate you. There just are. And we're human. We're all going to have our moments in which we're down and we don't feel good. And, we're sad. We're human. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I also want you guys to understand that there are so many people that love you and appreciate you, and you matter, including me, including every single person that's watching this video. You have no idea how much I love and appreciate you. No idea. I do want to shout out Spencer, um, again, because Spencer and Gabe, because for Gabe, I can't even imagine what that's like going through that right now. And then Spencer, may he rest in peace. May he rest in peace. So I did absolutely want to take a second to recognize Spencer and Gabe. And that, and Gabe, I'm here for you, brother. I don't know if again, I hope you're seeing this, but I got you for life, man. I got you for life. And this is obviously a tragic incident. But again, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So again, please, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling, depression is all over the world. It is, again, it hits everybody. Mental health is so important. But there are people you can talk to. There are people that you can reach out to. There are people that care and love you and care for you. Reach out to those people. Reach out to those people. You woke up this morning. If you're watching this video, you woke up this morning. So that right there means that you have value. You would not be here if you did not have value. So the fact that you are able to watch this video and able to listen to me yap about Devin Booker and Kyler Murray and Anthony Edwards and LeBron and the fact that you're able to listen to me and watch whatever it is and do the thing that you want to do means that you have value, man. I cannot preach that enough. Man, that hurt me. That hurt me this weekend. And again, I've been trying to be there for Gabe, and I'm with you, brother. With you, dog. I love you, bro. Didn't want to take a few minutes to talk about that and recognize Spencer. May he rest in peace. Spencer, you will be missed. Again, I'm very sad I never got the opportunity to meet you. But I know the impact that you had, specifically on Gabe, I know was a big one. Now Gabe is also taking up after his brother and continuing his legacy by becoming an artist, by drawing, and because that's what Spencer loved to do. Spencer loved his art, as I mentioned already. He loved drawing. He was a tattoo artist, so he had his creativity level was off the charts. So Gabe has decided to continue his legacy in the art world. So he's been on TikTok, he's been on Instagram, again, just drawing, and he's going for his tattoo apprenticeship. I believe that's what it's called. He's going for his tattoo apprenticeship. So all those links to Gabe's Instagram, to get to Gabe's TikTok, that he's looking to grow and spread Spencer's artwork, spread Spencer's just creativity and positivity, spread his word, man. So that all will be in the comment section, pinned at the top of the comment section. So please go check him out. He showed me some of the work he's already done. Fantastic. I was blown away. I didn't even know that Gabe could draw like that. So please go check him out. Go check that work out. And like I said, as always, today it just means a little bit more. It just means a little bit more. If nobody else is going to tell you I love you and you matter and you have value. You woke up this morning, which means you do indeed have that value. And if you are hurting, if you are sad, if you are depressed, please go talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Everybody goes through things. But those things you can go with people that you love, people that love you. You are never alone. Never alone. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next episode. And as always, it is nice to be important, but it is much, much important to be nice.